Welcome back to the Cyan Grid Files, where we're investigating potential cyan grids hidden throughout Trezor Quest. Until now, every cyan grid we've investigated has been built from letters, but this candidate introduces something new: symbols. What if symbols matter just as much as the letters? What lies beyond the alphabet? Today's investigation begins with a cyan grid shared with the community by Carter Violin. Unlike the three options we've explored so far, this one takes the investigation in a different direction. Let's see what we find. The first thing that caught my attention was this letter E. Unlike the rest of the cyan characters, it sits outside the bordered box. We've seen cyan outside bordered areas before, but here it stands out for a different reason. In the code, each letter is colored independently. So this E was assigned its own color, just like every other letter. Looking a little further, I found another use of cyan. The code adds an animated cyan scanline effect over the entire start screen. It's so subtle that it's almost impossible to notice, but it's there. The next thing that stood out was the way the controls are written. Instead of words alone, they also use symbols. We've seen punctuation before, commas, a copyright symbol, even decorative borders. Up until now, those characters haven't been part of the grids we've built. This location gives us another opportunity to take a closer look at them. As I was putting this episode together, I noticed the control text and symbols seemed to be oddly spaced. So I went to the code. Sure enough, each control line is written independently, and 3 of them include additional spacing that the others don't. I don't know if that means anything, but it was unusual enough that I wanted to document it. There's one more detail worth noticing. The game tells us to fire using 3 equal signs, but when you actually play, you fire with the spacebar instead. It's a small difference, but one we'll keep in mind. Before pressing start, the cyan characters equal exactly 64, enough to build another complete grid. Once the game begins, new cyan elements appear on the screen. The player's ship includes a bright cyan square, and in the code, that square is defined by a 6x6 shape. Below the game, another line of cyan text appears. Good luck, Space HODLer. The geodes are interesting too. At first, I thought that they were flashing cyan and magenta, but after checking the code, they're actually using slightly different colors. They're close enough to create almost the same visual effect, which is why I checked. After the game ends, even more cyan text appears, adding another 65 cyan characters to everything that was already there. Currently, I don't see anything that would help us reduce that count either. There's one thing I want you to try with me. Before we begin, grab a sheet of white paper or find something white that you can look at in just a moment. Pause here if you need to. Now, open Space HODL and look at the blinking red warning. Don't worry, you don't have to understand why we're doing this yet. Just keep your eyes on the red text for about 10 seconds. Now, look at your white piece of paper. Did you catch it? If not, that's okay. Pause the video and try it again. Keep your eyes on the blinking red text just a little longer. Then look away. For just a moment, the words don't look red anymore. They appear in cyan. The first time that I noticed that, it stopped me in my tracks because cyan has been at the center of this entire investigation. So I started looking at the warning itself. First, I counted just the letters. The total was 27. That didn't seem particularly interesting. Then I stopped and thought about everything that we've learned so far. We've already learned that sometimes what's on the page isn't meant to be taken at face value. We've treated numbers as words. So I wondered, what if the punctuation should be treated the same way? Instead of reading an exclamation point as a symbol, read it as the words exclamation point. Instead of reading a colon as a symbol, read it as the word colon. Now, let's count it again. Starting with the S from the word in space and reading straight through, we get S, exclamation point, warning, colon, avoid, geode, collision, exclamation point. Removing the spaces and counting only the letters, the total becomes, you guessed it, 64. Exactly enough to fill an 8x8 grid. Maybe it's just an incredible coincidence. Maybe we just stumbled onto something really important. Either way, I think this is an awesome find, and I can't wait to see what all of you think. We've uncovered 2 different 64 character candidates from the same page. That leaves us with some new experiments to try. Start with the warning text. Build the 8x8 grid for yourself. Then ask, does it reveal anything on its own? Or is there another arrangement we should be testing? Next, compare the 2 Space HODL grids. Earlier, Carter Violin shared a candidate that received Chad's X hand gesture. But now we have a second 64 character candidate from the very same page. Compare them, overlay them, rotate them. See if one helps explain the other. Experiment 3. Finally, don't stop with Space HODL. Take both grids and compare them against every other candidate we've explored in previous episodes. Look for shared patterns, repeated structures, or relationships that only become visible when the grids are viewed together. If you discover something interesting, share it with the community. Because sometimes the smallest observation is the one that changes everything. If you've enjoyed this investigation, please consider subscribing so you don't miss out on the next case. Because next time, another candidate lands on the desk. Everything seems to be in order until we count. 6 characters don't belong. The question is, which 6? What's next in the case of the extra 6? Until next time, keep asking questions, keep testing ideas, and keep following the evidence.